All right, what's up, everybody? We're here today with Cody Leach, YouTuber, movie reviewer. First off, how you doing?
Oh, not too bad. I kinda took the day off today, which is rare for me, so enjoying that a bit.
Do you normally do content every single day? How often is it full time? Like you put in your 8 hours?
Not necessarily that, no. Like, I do make content most days of the week, especially here the last couple of months. I've been trying to ramp up my short form stuff, so over on TikTok and Instagram and then Facebook. So it's kind of like 2 separate versions of me, 2 separate audiences. So
Yeah.
even on days where I don't have, like, a full long form YouTube video in mind, I'll knock out a couple of those and, then going through emails and doing sponsor deals and comments, like, that's all kinda tied in with it too, where I'm not making content, but I still kinda feel like I'm on the clock.
On that topic of short content versus the traditional stuff, it is two separate audiences. How are you finding? Is one of them? Are you getting any spillover? Because like I feel for us, it is completely two separate, even though
Mhm.
we're clearly giving you a preview of the traditional content. People that like shorts like shorts. They're doom scrolling swipers, and they have no desire to really go to the long form stuff. And do you think the long form stuff is going to completely get phased out?
No. It felt like when TikTok was really on the rise, and then you started to see YouTube and Instagram kinda coming up with their own versions of competing with it with reels and shorts, that was something that I think people were starting to wonder, like, "Ooh, is this just gonna be it from now on?" And, I mean, I don't know. It might be to a point where short form becomes the more popular one. They might go simultaneously. Maybe short form will die out the way that it did on Vine, but I don't think it's ever gonna get rid of long form. But I do think there's a small portion of spillover. There's people that like both forms, but I tend to think of them as 2 separate audiences, 2 separate entities altogether. There was a really big push for a while there when YouTube started to push shorts where they wanted you to do both. It's like, "We're gonna pay you for shorts now," and they barely do, but, "We're gonna pay you for shorts. It's amazing because Instagram doesn't pay you anything." And I saw a lot of people jump on that immediately. Were like, "Well, I'm gonna start making a long form version and a short form version for everything, and I'm just gonna hit the ground running." And from the beginning, I always felt like that wasn't a good idea because the way that I understood it was the way you just described it is like it's like having a channel where I'm talking about music and then having a channel where I'm talking about movies.
Hmm.
Not necessarily gonna be people like both. And so if you the way that I somewhat understand the YouTube algorithm, and I don't think any of us can ever fully
Nope.
understand it.
Sure, yeah.
If you really start to succeed with both, and you're looking at it just as, oh, well, they're both doing well, now you're splintering your audience into two different camps. And the negative side of that is that YouTube is going to look, well, 60% of your subscriber base used to click on most of your videos. Now it's 40% because when you do a long form, these people don't show up. And when you do a short form, these people don't show up. And I've seen a lot of people who were really excited about that early on that they've tried to do both in one channel. I've seen their views drop over time, and, that in my head canon, that's the reason why. So, when I finally did decide to dive into it, I keep it totally separate. I do it just on TikTok and Instagram, and then Instagram pushes over onto Facebook. I do some short form on YouTube, but it's usually out of theater reactions or something that feels supplementary to what I'm doing in long form. I try to keep it totally different.
I think you're dead on. 100%. And it felt like there was a time where everybody was pushing shorts on, yeah, on the same channel. And I've seen it with our channel. I've seen it with other people's channels. And yeah, nobody knows what's going on. And we could even go down the rabbit hole of we don't know what's going on as far as guidelines on YouTube, and that's ever
Mhm.
changing and all that
Mhm.
crap. I mean, we just have you ever experienced a strike or anything like that?
A strike? No.
You don't use a whole lot of clips. You don't really, right?
I've had to cut it down a lot over time. I used to use a lot of clips and I used to use long clips, but YouTube started to really crack down and go crazy about the copyright system. Or I guess it's more so the studios than YouTube, but YouTube just doesn't enforce it the way that they should. Like we get all
Yeah.
these guidelines given to us, but it feels like we're always like guilty until proven innocent when it comes to that
Mhm.
stuff. And so over time, I just started to really use less clips and not try to have anything more than like 7 or 8 seconds. And even still taking that approach, I still feel like I'll get hit every once in a while, but sometimes it's like years later, like Universal's obviously the
Exactly.
biggest
Oh, yeah.
one.
Mhm.
Yeah.
With music too.
Oh, music is 1,000 times worse than trailer clips or anything. If you put a song in there for more than 3 seconds, you're done. They're gonna catch it.
So it's usually like a copyright claim, but I think I've mastered that too. You keep stuff under 10 seconds, where you're saying maybe 7, 8 seconds is a sweet spot. It seems like it's overall like a percentage. Like we kind of cut our teeth first doing audio podcasts, then we moved to YouTube later, and we started doing commentaries. That's what we did for
Mhm,
years. And the transition was weird because we started off just doing audio. Like we've been doing commentaries in podcasting since 2011.
Yeah.
So this
oh,
is
wow.
back when you still had to tell people what's a podcast, that
Mhm.
nobody knew.
Mhm,
And literally now I could tell you on two hands how many of those people used to ask me what a podcast was, and then when you try to explain it, they wouldn't quite get it, and they would be like, "So it's like radio? Do you make money?" Like, "Well, not really," because it's like
yeah.
back in those days, you're like literally in your basement, just kind of talking to
Just for fun,
ether.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it was really niche back
Skype
in the day.
Skype recordings, yeah, yeah.
Back then,
Mhm,
it was like the equivalent of like heavy metal or horror fanzines back in the day. We're talking to a very select few neckbeards that probably live with their
Mm.
parents and whatever. And these people all have podcasts now,
mhm,
so it's funny. Pretty much when comedians figured out, oh God, we can make a ton of money with this, it just changed the game. And
yeah.
and I consume all that. I love it. I love podcasting. It's
Mhm.
gotten to a point where I think the bubble should burst a little bit. Now it's gotten a little ridiculous. Um,
Yeah.
when you have like your like I said, every comedian, you have like your iced teas, you have anybody with a built-in audience ready to go. It's like episode one, you got sponsors, you got brand deals, whatever. Okay, it's a shoe in. I get it. Um, but now it's like literally the joke used to be like everybody and their mailman. Now it's not even like sarcasm. Like everybody's
Mhm,
got a podcast, and now you're just fighting for space. And we eventually went to YouTube, and yeah, when we actually went to video, it was weird because we didn't know the rule. Back in podcasting, you could put music. Nobody was fucking policing that
Mm.
shit
yeah.
on TalkShoe or iTunes. Nobody was policing it.
iTunes mostly, yeah.
Nobody was policing that. The good old days. But now it's just the same thing as terrestrial radio. It's like all the terrestrial radio companies bought podcast networks and all. And it's the same.
Yeah.
But with the video thing, we only dealt with copyright claims, but we've mastered that now. But we actually got our very first strike, like actual legit strike,
Oh, wow.
just a few days ago. And I'm still heated from it. So I didn't know if you've
Yeah,
dealt with
no,
this. It's pretty notorious. I know you're a horror guy, but are you a Romero guy? George Romero? Are you a Night of the Living Dead guy?
Casual. Like, I like his stuff. I'm not a diehard Romero guy by any means.
I'm not an apologist. Like I'm one of these guys. Like Todd's a diehard.
I'm a huge Romero guy, but he does have some stinkers. I'll give you that.
I'm a
Yeah.
guy that will die by the original Dawn of the Dead. I think it's a perfect movie. And then maybe there's a couple other, like I love Creep Show. Gets a little rocky from there. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
like just fillet them
Mhm,
every way. But nobody's perfect. I don't hold that against anybody. So you probably aren't familiar then with the lore of the original Night of the Living Dead, but it goes really, really deep. And essentially, it's super fragmented. And when they did the original one, in Pennsylvania. They went under this company called Image 10. And everybody you see in that movie, like in true indie fashion, they all worked on the movie. The Johnny, they're coming to get you, Barbara. He served a production function. Everybody's like, hey,
mhm,
you want to play this role? You want to do this? Those guys all went by the name of Image 10. And there's the classic tale of the big fuck up with copyrights, where the name change, Night of the Flesh Eaters and all this shit. They forgot to copyright the new title, whatever. Basically, Night of the Living Dead was in the public domain since day one because they fucked up the copyright.
mhm.
Uh, George Romero was never bitter about it because, well, he took the huge success of Night of the Living Dead and translated it into a career. He went on
Yeah.
to do Dawn of the Dead, but all these other guys got real bitter because they never did anything else and just whatever. And so they've just been on a mission, man, trying to like recoup decades of lost money. Um, anyway, so they gave us a copyright strike because we did a commentary on Night of the Living Dead, and it's public domain. So, and it's in the everybody knows. It's a 60-year-old genie that is out of the bottle, and you cannot put it back in the bottle. And they're trying to, and they struck us, and they tried to say that we were using like a Criterion restoration because they found workarounds. Like if there's colorized version or like a restoration, they can copyright those. We were using the legit original. They
Mhm.
claimed otherwise, but on your note of there's no recourse for us, no. Pretty much they can fucking issue a strike, and yeah, we can rebuttal. But then they are pressured. They have 10 days to issue legal action.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you have to play that game. And in my opinion, if you look at these guys and you knew their whole operation, they're broke.
Yeah.
They're broke. So I'm kind of the guy who was like, hey, I want to fucking go for broke and call these guys out and push it. Todd doesn't.
Not worth it to me. No.
And it's not worth it. Like, fine,
No.
we're not even gonna do with it, because some people lose their channels as a result of the legal action. It's like, it's not worth it. So
did they just hit you with a strike outright, or did you guys go through the copyright claim stuff first and then
Nope.
a strike came?
Nope.
They just hit you with a
just got a strike.
I've never heard of that ever.
Yep.
Just got a strike. Never had a claim.
And then we emailed them. They didn't respond to us. Yeah.
I would push back. I would push back.
So the way the right way you should do about this stuff with anything, I don't care if you're disputing your credit card or you're disputing anything, try and talk it out with the person first. And because this stuff is a mix of manual and bots, even though I knew from the second I saw their name, it wasn't a bot, but I gave them the benefit, like, hey, can't help but notice you guys issued a strike on this. And they have to show you the material you stole. They have to link it to another video. They linked us to the Criterion Restoration. So this is how they're getting their nickels and dimes now, is like maybe off sales of the Criterion. And Shout Factory actually has the Criterion uploaded to their official channel. So there's some partnerships going, but it was false. I'm like, that is not your version. Like, it's literally not your version. And so they can go through, pull something, and you can just tag it on any video you want. And it's just a way to abuse stuff. And so it's really frustrating. I don't know. It'll drop off in 90 days and we got to go to fucking traffic school for, or whatever the YouTube, the stupid but hypothetically, before we made the decision to do that, we scrubbed our entire channel of anything Night of the Living Dead. One, because I'm fucking out of spite. Fuck those guys. But also because there's nothing stopping these guys. They could have given us 3 strikes at once with no, like, whoa, what happened? Right? And then your channel's gone.
Yeah.
And you pretty much have to be in that 1% club of YouTube to even have any kind of like connection channel to call somebody to do something about anything.
I would know to call. I'm not saying I'm in the 1% because I'm far from it, but
you got to be in the middle. You got to be like you have to be like, what's that?
That was the thing that was crazy when I started actually getting a little traction on TikTok. Like, I'm still only in the like 44K range or whatever on TikTok, which is not nothing, but you know, compared to YouTube, it's less than a quarter.
Yeah.
And I already have a contact at TikTok, which is ridiculous.
Nice.
Where I'm like within a few months, I have somebody, a name and a face at TikTok, and I've been on YouTube since 2016. I wouldn't know who the fuck to call.
You got to be that like Sniper Wolf levels, or that chick. You guys know who these are, and like that's the person that literally docks somebody online on live, and you know she got suspended for a day, but she's such a breadwinner. It's like, you know, they get away with murder. But anyway, we have no voice, so yeah, the whole thing is like, do we just? I said, well, if we accept it and choose to let it roll off our backs and remove all the content, at least we can air our grievances.
Yeah.
Because I'm not somebody that wants to talk trash on anybody, but these guys, I'm going to air my grievances because, like I said, you got a bunch of really old guys that clearly don't have any retirement saved up. And because if you go to their website, I didn't mean to get on this tangent about Image 10. I'm going to wrap it up, I swear.
Yeah, wrap it up.
It's very, very interesting. If you go on their website, they just launched them as a business like a couple years ago, but that was their old production company. You wouldn't be able to tell they're any kind of like organized functional establishment because all their socials, they're not branded the same. They have totally different names. You would think they're maybe fan like accounts. None of them are streamlined. And when you go to their website, their whole mission statement is we're doing this to keep George Romero's legacy alive and the original film's legacy alive. But hey, here's our store. You want to buy this fucking Dawn of the Dead branded urinal? It's like, no, if you guys wanted to keep the legacy alive, you wouldn't be taking down fan commentaries that are in the public domain, because while the movie was a huge independent hit, I think it was the biggest hit until Halloween came along. You could argue that it's still bigger today because it was public domain. Because if you think back in your childhood, everything we ever watched, be it on Saturday morning cartoons, TV, what did they all reference? Night of the Living Dead, Garfield, watching Garfield and Friends. Garfield would fall asleep on the couch watching a parody of Night of the Living Dead, and he'd wake up. They kept going back to that film, and they could show people watching it in movies and stuff like that. It just did more favors, I think, especially for George. And anyway, Yeah, sorry, we got on that tangent because of the strike stuff and the YouTube. I didn't know if
You
you'd
had that
experienced it.
pent up for a bit. I
I
can
had
tell.
it pent up.
God, yeah.
I
You're like,
had
"Hey,
it
buddy,
really
what's up?"
We already went over this, Aaron.
We're gonna
Come
go.
on.
We're gonna go to Living Dead Weekend, which is gonna be the last year they do it at Monroeville Mall where they filmed Dawn of the Dead.
Mhm.
It'll be the last one next year. And God help me, I'm gonna see them there. And I'm gonna sit down with them very nicely. I'll be very respectful. But if I get an interview with them, I will be asking them about this and their
Mhm.
overreach. Okay, whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, so when you it's pent up. Uh when you started, where I was actually going with this before I got away with it, you said when you make shorts versus traditional content, it's like splitting your audiences, like, oh, music, games, whatever. I wasn't, admittedly, I wasn't really familiar with your channel. Todd is a fan of yours, and he
Mhm.
showed me, he was like, oh, we'd love to talk to this guy. Because we talk about movies all the time. So if you looked at my algorithms, I follow nobody usually but musicians, gearheads,
Mhm.
guitar players, camera, cinematographer. You know, it's I segment stuff out. And but when I did go look at your channel and did some research, did you start out like kind of trying to navigate YouTube like, hey, I want to cover everything because
Yeah.
we're into a lot of because we did that too, because the rules have all just changed over the last decade where it felt like you could get away with that. So at what point did you find, this is working, so I'm gonna stick with this? This isn't working.
It didn't take too long, luckily, but yeah, I think I did the classic mistake when you joined YouTube, where you basically are like, "I'm gonna emulate all the things that I like," and I liked a
Uh,
lot of things. You know, I liked a lot of movie channels. I liked music. I liked video games. I would never cross this in, but I love cooking, and so I was like, "Well, shit, you know, I can just be a hub." You think like media wise, if I had one channel to look at all the things that I love, that should be, you know, the grand slam. And then you start doing it and you don't really understand why at first. You're like, well, why? Like, this isn't translating. This works. Nobody's clicking on this, but they're over here. And so I think it was more so of me somewhat learning it as well as just always having way more things to talk about in the movie space. And so it just kind of easily guided me that direction. It really wasn't until around maybe 3, 4 months into my YouTube channel in 2016, and I wanted to do a horror review series because I've always been a huge horror fan, but it always kind of felt like I didn't have friends or family that was nearly as into it as I was. So it always felt like this super niche thing that only I could talk about. And so I had did like a little video. It should still be on my channel where I basically had the, I don't know, 200, 300 people that were watching me at the time vote in the comments. Do you want me to talk about Freddy or Jason or Michael? And Nightmare on Elm Street won, which was one of my favorites. And so I started doing my Nightmare review series. And that was the first thing that I did creatively that really felt like it started to take off like on a consistent basis besides trailer reactions. And I was like, wow, like this is cool because this is what I want to do. And I also didn't realize there were so many horror fans out there. And so it was kind of like opening myself up to a world that I was never able to see before. I felt like if I brought up Chucky or Freddy at school or whatever, people would be like, who, what? And so that was really kind of intoxicating for me. And the more that I dove into that, I went from movies, music, and games to pretty much just movies to mostly just horror films. So like I niched ultra hard down on that at first. And luckily through, you know, over time, I was able to kind of expand that umbrella a little bit where I started to talk about a little bit more of everything. And then especially whenever I went full time in 2021, I didn't want to just talk about horror. I never did. But especially if I'm going to have, you know, all the time on my hands to be able to talk about everything, I wanted to expand my taste. I wanted to be able to watch as many movies in theaters as possible. And so I started covering everything. And luckily at that point, I had such an established audience and you know, some of them don't cross over, but a lot of them do. They'll watch me talk about other things where I was able to succeed doing that and didn't feel like I had to keep going back to horror.
So were you ever a musician growing up, or did you play any instruments, or were you just into music? I mean, into because
I was
you're obviously a Priest fan. I see a poster which I love. So
Yeah, I got Priest and Iron Maiden right
yeah,
next to me here. Yeah, it's
awesome.
so I kind of feel like it's half honest and half dishonest to say that I'm a guitar player because
Okay.
I've been playing guitar since I was 15, but I barely have had time to actually pick it up at all in like the last 6, 7 years. So like I could noodle around a little bit right now, but I would be embarrassing. So I do have some music knowledge, some instrument knowledge, but I've just always been a big music fan. You know, my dad was always big into music. He always had a ton of rock and metal and then country on this side. Never got so much into country, but Alice Cooper, I got really hardcore into when I was
Oh
like
hell yeah.
9 years old, 10 years old. And it was like off to the races from then. So then it was Priest and Metallica and Iron Maiden, all that. And that's been me forever and always since.
That kind of ties in with the whole horror element because I mean Alice Cooper's stage
Oh,
show
yeah.
is like, you know, a horror show, which is
Yeah.
he's phenomenal alive by the
The
way.
audiences have always went together hand in
Yeah.
hand. It's been really great. So your upbringing is probably a lot like mine then, because me and Todd have been friends since middle school, and I remember when I met him, he got me into like Dawn of the Dead. I mean, I was into horror. It was a little bit more surface level. Like I grew up with Freddy. I grew up with all that stuff too. We're probably a similar age. I was born in '86. How old are you? Am I close?
1990.
Oh, okay.
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 Damn. But yeah, like our generation, give or take, we grew up with the Chuckies, with the
Mhm.
Freddys and all that
Yeah.
stuff. That's the kind of stuff we can catch on like a late night creature feature. So I was into that stuff. I met Todd and he got me into Dawn of the Dead, like, Fulci stuff, zombie, and a little deeper. And as far as music, you were a Dave Matthews guy, right?
He got me into all the metal. So
I
yeah.
did. I introduced all the stuff.
Yeah.
And so, but I got it from my dad. And so, yeah, my dad was an old Hesher from the from the 70s and 80s. And so I was literally born in 86 and my dad was pumping up Master of Puppets in the Womb. That was an album that year. And so ever since I came out, man, it's just been in a house or fucking trailer home or whatever you call it, with just that stuff blaring. So it's just part of my DNA. And it's so funny because music is great because I don't even really get along with my dad. We had a kind of a relationship, but we kind of always had that connection.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's like you, man. It's always going to be there. It's Sabbath, Ozzy, all that traditional stuff. Priest was probably my dad's second band. Metallica was his favorite.
Mm-hmm.
My mom had a miscarriage and he still had Judas Priest tickets that night, so he left
Oh
her.
my god.
So look,
Wow.
this tells this just to kind of explain to you
I
his
didn't even know
character.
that.
Look, just to kind of explain his character. I'm not saying his devotion / his personal character, but she had her first miscarriage. He's like, yeah, I remember my dad trying to justify it because this is like one of those late night conversations at the home as an adult, and she was saying that, and he's like, what, man, dude, I was fucking 17 and I had Priest tickets that night. What was I supposed to do? I'm like, fuck, I don't know, man. Shit. And I was I went to like the Turbo Lover concert in the womb. So yeah, it's all there, man. It's all relative. I've been a guitar player too since I was a teenager. I play all the time. It's just my stress reliever. But even if you haven't played in 7-8 years, you probably have enough of that like bicycle knowledge where it's like you can
For
pick
sure.
it up and dust it off. When you were growing up, what was your first introduction to horror? Was it the Chuckies? Going over your channel, I saw you're a big Chucky 3 stan.
Yes.
Was that your first?
Yes.
Which I love Chucky 3 too. And I don't
And
know.
I look, everybody thinks I fucking hate Chucky 3. I don't. I think Chucky 3 is a good movie. It's
Mhm.
just when I talk about it in context of the original trilogy, next to 1 and 2, it makes it sound like I'm trashing it. I'm not. I think Chucky 3 is fun.
Mhm.
There's just something about it compared to the first 2 where it always felt like a USA channel made for TV movie. It seems like Chucky light a little bit to me. I don't know why. Maybe it's the setting. Maybe it's this like the kids military camp. I don't know what it
Maybe.
is. But it's a funny movie. I mean, it's really quotable. It's really great. You have Andrew Robinson for some reason talking to a doll in private and wanting to cut his hair. Like it's just that's the weirdest
Presto,
scene.
you dead.
Yeah, presto, you're dead. Little off the top. It's just such an odd scene.
For sure. Yeah.
But I love Chucky, dude. I love the first 2. I actually like Bride of Chucky. I don't think Todd does. I think
I'm not a Bride of
Chucky's fun.
Chucky guy, no.
Love Bride of Chucky. After
I think
that, but
it's no. After that, yeah, that's where we part. I like Bride of Chucky. I love that Ronnie Yu stink it's got on it. It's obviously Freddy versus Jason. They look very similar, and Todd doesn't like Freddy versus Jason very much. I think it pretty much delivers on its promise. I don't know what else I don't know what you want from it. It's like they're offering you Freddy versus Jason. They literally give you a cheese. Are you supposed to take it seriously?
I don't
Todd?
know. I was reading Fangoria for years and years about this Freddy versus Jason coming out, and once I saw it, I was just it didn't hit me. So That's why. But
I loved it from day one. That was a badass theater experience. That was one of the times, like, if you remember back in the day when movies used to actually have websites,
oh yeah,
Uh-huh.
and so I remember my dad told me that movie was coming, like, my entire childhood. Like,
mhm.
"Yeah, they're making a Freddy versus Jake," 'cause it was always a conversation, and at some point, it was like, "This thing's never gonna fucking happen," and then one day, I swear to God, I was just, like, bored in middle school, so I was, like, in 7th grade, and I just happened to just type in freddyversusjason.com, just I don't know why. And then all of a sudden this page comes up and I'm like, this looks real. And there's a trailer. And this is back in the day where you had to click play, pause, and then wait while it loads for like 18 minutes.
Mhm.
And I'm in the middle of school with the volume all the way down. It's this horribly pixelated, like 200p thing. But I'm like, that looks like Robert Englund. Like, is this real? And I remember flipping out. Like, I couldn't wait to get out of school to go home and check this out. And yeah, Freddy versus Jason, like, it's got flaws, but I kind of the same mind of you. It's like, this is like the best version that we were gonna get. You know what I mean? It's an
What yeah.
inherently silly concept. Seeing it in the theater where it was like a fighting event, and you had Freddy fans and Jason fans, like, ah, fuck you, he won. You know, that was awesome.
Where they would have failed people is if they would have had the movie that we saw, and then we had like 2 minutes of an altercation, a build, but the buildup paid off.
Yeah,
It's like the entire third act is them just tearing each other's ass,
yeah.
between in the dream world and pulling it out, and it delivers. It doesn't leave you with blue balls at all. I don't know what anybody wanted from it. I mean, it's just, yeah, it's silly, it's cheesy, but
And that's why I go to your channel quite a bit, Cody, because I mean, you have different unique takes that I don't agree with sometimes, but sometimes I do agree with. So I always like to know what your point of view is going into a movie. I'm like, what does Cody think about this? Especially the newer films, like
Mhm.
um your out of theater reactions, which I really dig. And just getting to know that before I even go see the film. So no, props to you, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
your story about the World Wide Web of old. I miss the gullible days of the internet. I
Yeah.
remember being on AIM and my
Mm.
brother sending me a ping on AIM saying, "Hey, check out this sweet Iron Maiden fan site I found." And I just glanced at it, bestthebeast.com, donkey porn, like, you motherfucker. Best of the Beast. I'm like, I gotta learn to read. Don't click these links. But yeah, man, that was a huge one. They were talking
Mm.
about that for so long. I remember seeing Jason Goes to Hell, and that was the big
Yeah.
thing that
I
launched it.
rented that movie just because my dad said his gloves at the end, and so
Yep.
I actually
Oh,
kinda liked that movie as an adult, but as a kid, I could not have cared less about Jason, so I literally just watched that movie on autopilot, waiting for the final scene.
and I didn't know it was coming, and we rented it from the library because we were a
Mhm.
certain ilk of people. And yeah, I remember seeing that and thinking it was so cool. And you don't really have any context of what's going on with rights back then. I mean, now as an adult, it's like, oh, there's a reason why it's not called Friday the 13th. It's called Jason, blah, blah, blah. And I didn't know that. Oh, that's not Robert Englund as Freddy. That's, I think it was Kane Hodder
Yeah.
actually
Yeah.
wearing it, and the glove looked fucking Timu as shit too. But it
Mhm.
didn't matter. As a kid, it's like, oh my god, because I guess they all that stuff is a nod to the Universal days,
Yeah.
versus the Wolfman, Abbott Costello. But to me, I didn't know anything about that stuff back then. I'm like, I had never seen worlds collide before, except on Scooby Doo,
Yeah.
and it was just a huge deal. And I think that's why people, even when like the Marvel stuff came around, I mean, everybody should think that's old hat now. Todd gives me shit, but when Marvel came out, Marvel Studios, and they were doing the Iron Man movie with the idea that we're going to build it up to an Avengers. Oh, I liked comic books. I liked those IPs when I was a kid. I was excited at first. I'm like, holy shit. They're going to take a sea leaguer like Iron Man and make a movie, and they're going to have Thor, and they're going to build it up to the Avengers. They're actually going to coexist in this world together. It's basically like they do in the comics. They all
Mhm.
meet up and they all exist in one ecosystem. And I was all about it until Disney bought it. Then it's like, okay, this shit is done. It's ran into the ground. It's like they had a good thing for a minute and they just squeezed every like bit of life force out of that. But Freddy vs. Jason was the same way. That was a huge deal.
So,
Mhm.
are you a Friday the 13th fan now then, or was it just growing up you weren't really, or are you still not really a Friday the 13th guy?
I would say I like Jason more than I like his franchise.
Okay.
Like, I love part 4, big final
Yep.
chapter fan. I have fun with part 6. I was the perfect age to experience Jason X when it released, to
Oh,
where I have a
gee.
little bit of
Ooh.
early 2000s millennial
Okay.
nostalgia for that one, but it's not a movie I would like die on a hill for.
There's a lot of
And
people that like, I mean, that's making a comeback, which
for
Aaron and I
sure.
saw that, and we really didn't.
We went and
Yeah.
saw that in the theater, and I if I paid to see something, I wanna get my money's worth. I'm not one
Mhm.
to, like, walk out of a movie. I probably should. The older I get, I'm like, "Yeah, my time's more valuable," but I remember this was the first movie ever where the whole time I'm sitting in silence, like, I really want to leave. And, but I'm like, hey, I'm thinking Todd spent his money. I'll just tough it out. And
Mhm.
then at the end of the movie, he's like, I was thinking the same damn thing and I didn't want to leave because I didn't want to insult you. I'm like, fuck, man. It's like, it was terrible. I hated it so much. And of course, the beginning was kind of cool. And I remember they kind of blew their load with that smashed ice head kill,
Yeah.
and then it just
Yeah.
kinda dies from there, and I'm like, "Oh."
Which funny thing is, the only movie I've ever walked out on was House of the Dead from 2003.
Oof.
That movie was
Oof.
brutal.
Yeah.
And I was with a date, and I was like, we could be doing other things instead of sitting here watching this movie." So,
Anything else.
yeah,
But you could
Yeah.
tell she wasn't into it. She probably,
she
she
wasn't
wa
into it. No.
Mhm.
so is there been have you ever walked out on a flick?
Not since I've been reviewing films, no. There's only 2 movies that I've ever walked out on, and it wasn't I mean, the first one wasn't really my choice. It was that movie From Hell, like the Jack the
Oh,
Oh
Ripper
yeah.
Johnny Depp?
movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Mhm.
my dad and the woman he was dating at the time, her daughter, who was extremely squeamish, and me, I was into it because we're halfway into it, it's kind of gnarly, a little bit dark and fucked up. And I'm like, yeah. And she was, being nauseous. So they're like, we got to go. I'm like, this is bullshit. So that was, me getting pulled out of the theater. The only time I've walked out willingly, I was inebriated. And so I still don't think it was necessarily me making the choice. It was the first Grown Ups movie, Adam
Oh,
Sandler.
Oh
And it was
yeah.
gosh.
me and my buddy we and my buddy were already, yeah, we were a little intoxicated. We went to go see it thinking it was gonna be awesome, and we made it all the way to the water park sequence, and we were just like, "Dude, this sucks. Let's
That's
go."
terrible.
And if I would have been just, my regular self, I probably would have stayed because I don't walk out too much at all, as you can
Sure.
see. But yeah, that was one where it was just like, "Yep, anything's better than this." And, yeah, that's it.
So it doesn't necessarily have to pertain to the quality of the film, but do you have a particular worst movie experience? Like for whatever reason.
My worst theater experience
Yeah.
was, Black Panther 2: Wakanda Forever.
Oh, not it's pretty recent. What happened?
What didn't fucking happen, man? Like, it was one of those times where it just felt like all the people that don't typically go to the theater came at the same showing, and they were all in my theater, and so just
Mm.
no theater etiquette whatsoever in the whole fucking building. And so essentially, I was sitting between 2 different people, and the woman to my left and her small child. Now, to her defense, bringing your kid to a Marvel film, usually a safe bet. Wakanda Forever, not that type of movie. It's very somber, it's very dramatic, it's not really action packed. It's a eulogy type film. I don't know if you've seen it.
I
But
didn't see that one.
yeah, so her kid's not enjoying it. He's fidgeting, he's moving all around, he's distracting as hell, and I'm like, "Oh," like as a parent, I've been in those situations and then I resolve it. I either get my kid to calm down or I leave. Like I'm very cognizant that there's other people in this theater, and it's not
Absolutely.
it's not cool for me to let their experience be fucked up because my kid's not enjoying this. But she obviously didn't, get raised that way, so she's letting her kid do whatever. And then eventually about 20 minutes into the movie, her solution is to give her kid a tablet
Oh Jesus.
Oh no.
with the volume
Sound.
on.
Oh my god.
And so now he's not fidgeting anymore, but I'm hearing like fucking Roblox over
Yeah.
to the left the entire, and I'm like it's one of those things where it's like normally you could say something, just be like, "Hey, excuse me," but like if there's a person that's just that far removed from reality, there's no version of this that doesn't turn into an altercation. And
Yeah.
so I'm like, oh, and as soon as I get to the point where I'm like, I can't take this anymore, the guy to my right picks up his phone and starts having a full on conversation.
Jesus.
And I'm like, "What the fuck, dude?" And then so then I eventually like very like loudly, like it's those like theater seats that are the electric
Oh, the lounges.
recliners.
Yeah.
And so as loud as you can be with that, where it's like and like I get up and I move to a different seat, and it doesn't get a whole lot better because then there's people over there talking, but it was at least better than having stupid in stereo. So that entire movie was just kind of ruined by people being ridiculous. The runner up, which is almost I almost wanted to say this was worse because it was even more like, what planet are you from? It was that movie Lights Out.
Oh, terrible movie, dude. I fucking hated that.
I thought it was all right, but the theater experience was absolutely destroyed by the woman in front of me. So this is when like Instagram really started to take off,
Okay.
and the woman in front of me, like, if you've seen more than a couple of horror films, you can tell when there's a scare coming. The sound drops out, somebody's walking through a hallway. Like you can always tell, like you start gripping your seat. Every time that type of scene came, this woman in front of me would pull out her phone and she would record it, and I'm getting the beam of the
Ugh.
screen the entire time. And then as soon as the scare happened, she would sit down and she would like make like a whole like Instagram story where she'd like hashtag lights out, so scared. And it would like for 5 minutes after the scare, I'm still dealing with this. Eventually, I was getting so pissed that I was going to go tell a manager. But like as soon as I was reaching the boiling point, a manager came in and then she put her phone away. So I think somebody else beat me to it. But the only bad experiences I've had has been because of that. It's just people that are like, they treat the theater like it's their living room, and it's just like, what? Who
Matinees.
raised you?
Yeah.
Only matinees for me now, man. And I don't go that much anymore just because there's not, I don't feel obligated to like review everything. So I don't go to that many, but there's not that many great movies. But horror's been eating pretty good as far
Mhm.
as new
Mhm.
IPs and new ideas and things like that. Um, I don't know whatever happened to people's etiquette. Why can't you be like my grandma back in the day? She used to sit in the back row as you should with a giant shoulder cannon and just bootleg the whole movie. Like all of our VHS tapes of like Home Alone, Batman '89, and Hook was just all came on her camcorder. And as a kid, I didn't even know it. But she must have did great work, like Kramer. But
Oh man, you're missing the death blow.
but the way the etiquette with kids too, I always think
Yeah.
about this time that I went and saw Bruno, and go sit down for Bruno, and the movie's getting started. And I watch. I don't know if it's like a field trip or if somebody had like was babysitting, but it couldn't have been all their kids. An adult walks in, just like baby duckling. There's like 8 kids with them, and
A Bruno?
they
Jeez.
sit down in like the middle of the theater. I'm like, oh no,
Yeah.
what is going on here? They were young kids, and they made it longer than I thought. And I don't remember if it was like God, wasn't there a scene that was kind of like in Borat where he's like wrestling naked with his
Yeah,
manager?
I'm
There
sure
was
there was,
another like
yeah.
really homoerotic scene, or maybe it was the talking penis. They finally hit their breaking point and they just all get up. Okay, we're leaving. Like,
Mhm.
God, what is wrong with you guys? But I my worst experience, I have to say, 1997. So,
Oh, it's
well,
been a
90,
while.
well, the worst. Oh yeah. Well, now I know what to expect.
Mhm.
But actually, let's start in 1995. Mortal Kombat comes out. The Mortal Kombat video game adaptation movie. Still love it to this day.
Me too.
Look, I know it's not Citizen Kane. I don't want people talking me down like it. I get it, but that movie it came out at the right time. I was a 90s kid at the right age, and everybody in elementary school was playing Mortal Kombat. And we'd go to the arcades. Like
Mhm.
you might not have the console versions, but this is still back in the day of putting the quarter on. I got next game and all that stuff. It was a culture. And then the movie was timed perfectly coming out with Mortal Kombat 3. They sort of hit it perfectly at its pinnacle. So it was a huge deal. And I just, I never got to see it in theaters, but we rented that movie so much to the point where it made no sense that we didn't buy it.
Yeah.
And I've just seen it. It's funny. I've just seen it more than any other movie. I could quote it front to back. I've just probably watched it more than any other flick. So we loved it. And my mom liked it. Everybody kind of liked it. It's a fun kind of crowd pleasing thing. So anyway, Mortal Kombat Annihilation is coming out, the second film.
Jeez.
And you ever go to a movie so bad where you're embarrassed? It's like, why am I embarrassed? I didn't make the movie, but you're embarrassed. Like you maybe drug a friend to it or said you just suggested it and you feel like you're wearing the cross. Like
Right.
I
They're judging you for why'd you make me come to
yeah.
this shit? Yeah.
And so my deadbeat dad, he came back into town. He kept leaving us and coming back and trying to crawl back. He came back in town, living out of the Motel 89, this place where you go to assault women. It was terrible. And I remember him trying to, this is his move to get the kids will love me. The first last time he came back, it was, hey, you're all good. How about an allowance? Never saw a dime. He left again. This time was, I want to take you out to a movie, sport. I was like, okay, I want to see Mortal Kombat Annihilation. And he takes us to see Mortal. And my dad liked the first movie too. And we go to this movie theater. It is fucking empty, except for like these two guys, like college age dudes right behind us. And one of them is sort of narrating everything to his friend, like, oh, well, that's Jax. He's this guy, explaining. And we're watching it. And it's so awkwardly silent, other than that. And it's so, even as a kid, dude, like it didn't take much to impress us. I was like, this is really fun. I feel like I was baited and switched. I feel like I was pranked. And the movie ends. we're leaving. It's that usually when you leave a theater, you're talking about it. Like, oh, it was good. As soon as you leave the doorway, you're talking about the mood. You like the movie. It's like this like funeral procession. We're just walking out of the theater. We're walking
Mhm.
out of the whole building. Nobody's saying a fucking word. And then we're in the car. We're going out to the parking lot. We're walking to the back of the. No words are being said. We finally get in the car. My dad gets in the car. No words. And then my dad says, "Well, it's official. Liu Kang is the Mortal Kombat champion." Like just with a defeated, like, "You fucking asshole, you took me to this shit." Never
Uh-huh.
took me to another movie ever. In fact, he left us again. So, and I never will forget about it. It was the most humiliating experience. Like it's my fault for liking the first movie. And
Mhm.
I feel like I've had to go through
Ugh.
therapy over this. Like, wait a second, I got to start blaming myself. Stop blaming. It is clearly their fault that they did this to us. But
Yeah, it wasn't so much of a shameful thing, but it was similar whenever I saw Skinamarink, where, it only played at the shit theater near me, which nobody likes to go to because the AC is always fucked up, and it's just you have to have, like, an Oscar level movie to have a good time at this theater. And so we're all watching Skinamarink, and it's me by myself, but there's, like, 7 other people that clearly heard the hype that are there to check it out. And the movie, like, it dead silent theater the entire time. I don't think anybody was even eating popcorn. It was just you could hear a pin drop, and then the movie ends and the credits start, and then people are just like you said, like, almost like the eulogy just got done, we're putting them in the ground, and everybody's just like, "What do
Well,
we do what do we do
yeah.
now?" Okay. They just
yeah,
leave. Nobody said a word the entire time, like, they could have all been strangers for all I know. They probably all came together, but they were like,
they should have had one asshole do a slow clap.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly. Like, "Oh, fuck
You
you."
you almost had me. You almost had me at it was really quiet. Nobody was eating popcorn. Like that sounds like bliss because
Uh-huh.
that's the worst when it's a movie like Quiet Place. I didn't really
Yeah.
care for it, but when I saw Quiet Place, it's like everybody's being quiet with the movie. Like they're not going to get us.
Yeah.
But anyway, and it's
Uh,
the
Mhm.
I can't do it anymore, man.
Yeah.
yeah, it's tough. I mean, do you have like an experience that's like the best theater experience? I mean, mine would probably be I saw House of Thousand Corpses when it first came out, and the theater was jacked up. Everybody was excited. Nobody knew what the heck this was, and it was so packed. I had to like pretty much sit on my buddy's lap in the front row,
Mhm.
Bet you
because
enjoyed that. All right.
well, and it was a heck of a lot of fun, and walking out of there, people didn't know whether to like it or hate it. I loved it at
Mhm.
going to the theater to see it. But is there like a memorable theater experience that you like left the theater like, oh, this was awesome?
Yeah, for sure. I think it's funny how your worst is House of the Dead, your best is House of a Thousand Corpses.
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah.
my best theater experience was Avengers Endgame.
Okay.
That was incredible. That was like a sporting event to end all sporting events. Like, that was me, it was my son, it was my brother, packed out theater. I bought the tickets like weeks in advance. And that was one of those movies where, especially like the last half of it, is just like nothing but crazy fan service. And so every single big moment was just the theater would erupt and people high five and oh my God. And like, I've never had a theater experience like that. Probably will never have one since. So that was the one where just everything was firing on all cylinders, where I loved the movie. It was great company. And no matter how loud and obnoxious everybody was, it was just like, this is awesome. And so there's just something in the air.
It works for event movies, and that's
Yeah.
why I think my most fun experiences are comedies.
Yeah.
Like, they're not the ones that
Back when
inspire
they
me to
used to
go.
make comedies.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, dude, 100%. Don't get me started, but they don't inspire me to like pick up a camera and go make a film. But dude, going to see like the Jackass movies with a bunch of friends,
Mhm.
where everybody's signed on. We're like, okay, you can be loud here, and it adds to it. Everybody just be as loud as possible. Throw popcorn.
Mhm.
You tend to go a little crazier than you would if you were just watching it by yourself. Uh, those are the most fun experience, and they're event movies.
Top
Yeah,
Gun
And I
Maverick. I mean, I had like a smile on my face the whole time. A
that was a good
huge
one.
Top Gun fan, so the sequel's just as good as the original. So
Yeah. One of
Top Gun Maverick did the impossible. It
yeah.
legit made a legacy sequel that literally
Mhm.
felt like it was cut from the same cloth. Like, how do you
uh
do it? You can't make a Ghostbuster sequel. We've proven that because it's too much time has passed. But they did it, damn it, with Maverick. Yeah.
yeah, there was
Fantastic.
it was a fun experience, that stood out to me for comedy. I don't know if you've seen the movie Strange Wilderness.
No,
Got
oh
Steve
no.
Oh,
Zahn, and it's not like a celebrated
And
comedy.
it's got Alan Covert, right? From Grandma's Boy.
I'm pretty sure it's got, Justin Long in it, and
Okay,
so
yeah.
it's these guys that are, like, out, like, almost like Parks and Rec or something like
yeah.
that, but they're trying to find Bigfoot. And why this theater experience stands out to me so much, despite being a movie I have not watched since the theater, is that it was me and a buddy of mine from high school, and this is like the cast at the time where you're like, oh, this is going to deliver just because that person's in it. And I remember the first like hour of the movie, nobody was laughing. We were just like, oh, this is not great or whatever. And then there's a point in the film, I, I'm sure you don't give a shit about spoilers, but like
No.
there's a point in the film where they accidentally do come across Bigfoot, but it's not like in a big, like, oh my God, like, climax of the movie moment. It just happens randomly in the background. And it's like they're getting ready to film something, then Bigfoot shows up and he goes, oh fuck. And then they all pull out like AK-47s and shit and start destroying Bigfoot. And I'm telling you, like, everybody was so dead that entire movie, like, and then that scene happens and caught everybody in the theater so off guard that we were all choking on our spit laughing for like 8 minutes straight. Where people are like trying to catch their breath and shit because it just caught them so off guard. And then it was never funny again after that. So like it's not a great movie, but I remember seeing it just like, yeah, I almost died for that one scene.
Yeah, another movie that I thought was kind of at an imbalance with its comedy. Dude, you ever seen Me, Myself, and Irene?
I love that one. Yeah.
Dude, so something about it, that first half is
Mhm.
amazing, and then something happens with the back half. It just I'm not saying it's bad,
Mhm.
but it's just riding so high for that first portion of the movie. Like
Mhm.
that first real scene where he's going crazy and he's like sucking the titty, the breast milk,
Uh-huh.
the cheese in the top. It's just nonstop, dude. I remember I couldn't breathe. I wanted to vomit. I couldn't stop laughing.
Mhm.
And then just I can't help but think it probably like an album. Like I would rather these tracks be dispersed more evenly. You
Yeah.
can keep the same tracks on the album, just don't like do the
Like
first
front
5
load it so
absolute.
much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it hurts the record and just it drove me crazy. Like God, because that first half, if the whole movie was as consistent as that first half, it would be up there with Dumb and Dumber.
Mhm.
But it just wasn't. And you were talking about Endgame. I think if blockbusters with if you're like a film elitist, it's a bit of a dirty word, but I don't think so. I think I outgrew a lot of stuff too, and I like a lot of pretentious horror. I like indie stuff. I like everything, man. But back in the day, blockbuster was a genre,
Mhm.
and it didn't mean it was bad. Like, dude, it was to me a blockbuster was, hey, this is a movie where we dump a whole bunch of money into it for the reason of let us show you how we can push technology and really wow you. Now with a lot of the Marvel movies, it really seems like where's this budget going? Because to
Yeah.
my eyes, they kept looking progressively worse.
Mhm.
And it's like these are costing $300 million. Is it all going to promotion and the stacked cast? Because I think the first Thor movie, aesthetically, from like a cinematography standpoint, granted, it's grounded, fish out of water, Earth story. It
Yeah.
looks way better than when you get to. I was watching. I think it was the third one because I've seen all those, and I think Loki's in hiding, and he's like in New Zealand or something. And there's a scene where they go visit. Thor goes to visit his dad, and he's supposed to be on a cliffside in New Zealand, and it's so obviously it's a green screen. I'm
Yeah.
like, with as much fuck you money as they have, they couldn't afford to just fly his old ass out to New Zealand to do it. I get it, it's easy, but people also just don't care. But back in the day, it was about Jurassic Park. Let's show you what animatronics we can do.
Yeah.
Holy cow. Like stuff that still holds up. I wish I was old enough to have seen Terminator 2 in the theater
Mhm.
because talk about a movie that stands the test of time. Like we don't have car chases like that anymore.
Yeah.
Now everything's like Fast and Furious where they all do it with effects and stuff like that. The practical side of me understands and why risk the insurance liabilities and all this stuff. Uh why risk that? We're not going to drive a semi off a bridge like James Cameron and risk somebody losing their fucking head over it. Let's all just make it look like a video game. But my God, Terminator 2 looks better on that front than anything that's come out since.
Mhm.
Still
You
looks
know,
beautiful. Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
it's just it's just insane, man. And you even kind of give it a pass like back then. It's like the stunts were so insane in a movie like that and ballsy to where you couldn't really hide the stunt guys. It's like, well, if we want this angle of the fucking semi coming off the bridge, we can't exactly hide Arnold's slow motion stunt double. Fuck it, keep it in.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you can see Robert Patrick's dick hanging down under his leg. Fuck it, keep it in. I was actually bummed out when they released that 4K where they re-released it in theaters and stuff like that. And it looks like everybody looks like a crayon and it's all waxy and stuff like that. That didn't offend me. And people get worked up over that. The digital, the AI upscaling, whatever. What I got upset is they deep faked all the stunt guys out.
Mhm.
Now it's like that slow motion of him coming off the bike, boom, off the bridge, and it's now Arnold's like CGI face on it. I'm like, no, I like
There's
seeing the sausage.
charm. Yeah, yeah.
I
You can
love
see it.
the
Yeah.
stunt double that played John Connor, and he's clearly like a
Mhm.
40-year-old with a giant ass, dude. It's
Yeah.
like I'm not staring at a kid's ass, but I think I know when I'm seeing a 10-year-old boy in one frame, and all of a sudden he's got these giant fucking cakes in front of me, like leaning over in his bike. It's so or and then they airbrush Robert Patrick's dick. And I'm like, you guys are fucking with history here. Why are we
Yep.
doing this?
Sometimes it's fun, it's part of the experience when you catch that, and now your eyes draw to it, like, the original Beverly Hills Cop when he goes to throw, Jonathan Banks over the table, and, like, for a split second, you look, and it's like, "That's not even close to Eddie Murphy."
Yeah. I love it, dude.
Yeah.
I'm not, they can do whatever they want. I'm against this George Lucas thing that people
Yeah.
do. And James Cameron, he's come out and defended stuff like this. He's like, well, to be fair, this is what I wanted to do then. We just didn't have the technology. I'm like, still, it's place, it's a time and place. Do
Mhm.
what you wanted to do then later on something else.
Yeah.
And with the Robert Patrick cock thing, he was like, well, we weren't supposed to show his cock. He didn't say
Mhm.
that, but he said we weren't supposed to show it. And when the theater comes, we're all seeing the premiere and he sees his cock. And like, God, we didn't take it out. So I kind of had to make amends on that. It's like,
Real quick, this is kind of a little bit going off the beaten path. We're all dads here.
Mhm.
You said you're a father. What's a good like movie horror film that you would get your kids into, at a younger age? What's a good gateway horror film for the younger kids? Because I'm starting to get my kids into some horror films, but I'm still trying to figure out, like, Return of the Living Dead 2. We talked about that a few weeks ago, Aaron and I.
Mhm.
But do you have any good gateways that you would recommend?
Yeah, the one that I'm wearing was actually the one that I used.
Sure.
So
Okay.
I mean, there's a lot of them. I mean, you got movies like The Gate that I think is pretty good. Poltergeist is a good gateway. You have other ones like that are more on the kid side, like movies like Little Monsters. But I've always found some of the 80s movies to have like a little bit of that dated charm to them where they're not super intense. And every kid's different.
Mhm.
Every kid's going to have something a little different about what bothers them and what they can tolerate. What I've found is a good method, at least for my kids,
Mhm.
is to make it like a fun and funny experience. And so that's what I kind of did with Fright Night. Because when I met my wife, she had already had our oldest two kids. And so I was pretty much told as soon as I met her, was like, yeah, they're not into horror. They're too young, and he has nightmares. And I was like, we're gonna test that. And so the first time I had my son alone, like where I'm hanging out with him, and he was like 7 at the time, I throw on Fright Night. And anytime I knew that there was like a more intense scene coming, I would just make a joke out of it. And
Mm,
so it just takes the tension out of the room.
gotcha.
And so that was a good one. I think even like, depending again on the kid, like the older movies like the Nightmare on Elm Streets and the Chuckies and stuff like that, as long as they're not deathly afraid of dolls, those are pretty good movies that are gateway, because horror has evolved so much to where like it's so much darker and more intense and cerebral. And even just on the gore side, we've
Yeah.
gone so far with the gore that you go back to a lot of the stuff that we grew up on and almost all of it seems tame. We love it for nostalgic reasons, but I think there's a lot of good gateway movies. It just depends on the kid and
Yeah, and
and
I'm
and
pretty picky on what they watch, so I'm just
yeah.
I'm just trying to test the waters and figure this stuff out. Like, my kid was actually on my iPad a few days ago, and he was watching a video of me doing a podcast with Aaron. I'm like, nope, you're not watching this.
Yeah.
It's like one of those
Dad, what's
things.
Robert Patrick's cock?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's one of those things. But
No, every kid's different. Yeah. And luckily, dude, I had absentee parents. They let me do whatever. I
yeah,
mean, like
same.
literally, my dad was either gone or my mom had to work a waitress job. I just stayed home, and I'm like the cable guy. Somebody's got to kill the babysitter. It's like
Mhm.
the TV was my thing, and so I watched whatever. Nobody was policing what I was consuming. So luckily, I wasn't. I was mature enough. I had nightmares, dude. I shouldn't have been watching Chucky at 3.
Mhm.
because I mean, the people that did Chucky, brilliant marketing. Because my buddy was the biggest toy out. My buddy and my sister, my kid sister, or whatever. My buddy and me, we even had a My Buddy doll.
Mhm.
Somebody out there's like, hey, let's play into that, and they even got My Buddy sued him actually because it's like, hey, you're
Mm,
cutting into our fucking profits, and
sure.
they
Yeah.
lost that. But no, it freaked me out. So my entire childhood, the nightmares consisted of Freddy Krueger, Chucky, and Pennywise because I used to watch that It miniseries too. I
Mhm.
mean, clowns, dolls, and PDF files. I mean, that's the fucking Mount Rushmore of things kids should be watching out for.
Yeah.
And but yeah, luckily I turned out all right, and it just sort of set me on a path. I think Fright Night's a really good one.
Yeah,
I think that one could
that's a
easily
great
be
one.
made into something not so serious. I think
Mhm.
if you want to lean a little bit more towards kids, yeah, Little Monsters is perfect. Ernest Scared Stupid.
Mhm.
Yes, we
Uh,
did watch that over
that's
Halloween.
a
Yeah.
pretty perfect one.
Mhm.
I think the perfect one, in my opinion, if you want to meet it right in the middle, is Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Mm.
Mm.
It's literally PG-13, and I love that movie as a kid. And if you watch it today, there's no violence. It's
Yeah.
like all the violence is. It's like, oh, a shadow puppet eats the people. It's not. There's no blood. There's no. The most violent it ever gets is when Shorty uppercuts that one guy's head off. But even
Mhm.
then, it looks paper mache. There's no blood. It's so silly.
Mhm.
That's to me, that's the quintessential one.
Yeah.
Fright Night. Todd, you weren't a very big fan of Fright Night for the longest time.
For
I
the
love
longest
Fright Night.
time, and I just recently started really getting to Fright Night, so yeah, it's,
Two, I like two as well. So, but one of our favorite, I don't know if you go to conventions, if you ever had any convention experiences,
I just
but
got back from one this weekend, actually.
okay, well, I'm going to ask you about it. Todd, he's one of his coolest stories that I like to hear is Stephen Jeffries,
Mm.
Evil Ed, Fright Night. And back in the golden era of those things, we go to them. They were just a lot more homegrown. They're a lot more fun. You had more freedom. Usually, the guests and the patrons were all staying under the same Ramada Inn, and the after hours parties were pretty fun. And
Mhm.
now it's really corporate. Ever since The Walking Dead, and it's just become more closed off. And now it's like, hey, the talent's on a different floor, and these people are down here, and they're all staying at a nicer place, and all you fucking peasants are staying here at the fucking Red Roof Inn or whatever. And but you guys had a tell your Stephen Jeffrey stories.
yeah, yeah, and so we went to the convention, me and an old buddy who actually ran this, podcast with us, and, we met Stephen Jeffries. We hit it off with him and
Mhm.
started hanging out with him. And he was like, hey Todd, hey Riverman, can you go get me something to eat? And I'm like, yeah, sure. What do you want? He's like, how about I just treat you guys to the Waffle House? So he took us out to the Waffle House, and he bought us dinner out in the Waffle House, and he hung out with us for a few hours, and then he ended up he ended up kissing my coat, not Aaron, but
No, don't you ever. Yeah, Nate, this guy. Well, so
my
Stephen Jeffries,
co-host. Yeah.
he plays for another side,
Yes, yes.
and
Yeah,
he
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 did
actually
he did porn at one
Yeah,
point.
he
yeah.
did he
Yeah.
did porn. Yes. God, we had a colleague
He was
one
a
time that
super nice guy. I loved him.
super
Mhm.
nice guy. We had a colleague one time with a separate channel, and he actually did a commentary of his porn videos, and he was ranking his like, God, dude, ranking the
Wow.
nut. Like, dude, you're another level. Like I give that nut that was a disappointing nut. Like, God, dude, what the fuck? Anyway, yeah, and then he like literally sticks his tongue in this other guy's mouth at the cover. But back then, you could do that because these guys are regular guys. Like, I don't remember if he was like a paralegal or what he did.
Uh-huh.
A lot of these guys, they moved on and they were doing other stuff. And we've got so many experiences, good and bad, with different people. And it all came from those days where you could pretty much hang out after hours and whatnot.
Mhm.
Do you have an experience, like a great one? And do you have any experiences where somebody maybe kind of left a bad taste in your mouth or any of that? Because we definitely do.
Well, I mean, this is not gonna be either of those answers, but just since we're talking about Fright Night and Stephen Jeffries, this is actually from Saturday. So
Hell yeah, dude!
I didn't
Oh,
I didn't I didn't get Chris Sarandon's tongue in my mouth, but we enjoyed
You
meeting him.
fucking lucky bat. I would have demanded it.
yes,
I
that's
would have
awesome,
demanded
man.
it. I love Carissa Sarandon. I mean, yeah, Child's Play, obviously, and Fright Night, but Jack
Mhm.
Skellington, for crying out loud. I
Oh
think
yeah.
he's awesome, dude. I love Chris Sarandon.
Yes, I've actually had a number of really great con experiences. There's like 4 or 5 that I think are the top tier. Like amazing people that just makes you love them and their work even more. So I met Henry Winkler a couple years ago. He was incredible. Like his line was not very long, which is, sometimes it pisses you off as a fan. You see which lines are short and you're like, what the fuck is wrong with all of you? But there was like 4 people in line and he was like shaking people's hands while they're in line, like, hey, thank you for coming. Be just a minute. And he made me feel like, I mean, this was MegaCon in Orlando. So it's like the biggest con in the country or one of them. And he made me feel like I was the only person in that entire convention. He was
Yeah.
amazing. Felissa Rose
Oh, yeah.
absolutely understands the assignment with her fans. She was
Oh,
amazing.
100%.
Yeah.
I don't know. I always say this is a surprise, and it's not because I thought she was going to be mean by any means, but this was like a last minute decision. I was at Mad Monster earlier. Was it earlier this year or last year? I think it was last year. And at just at the I'd already spent a bunch of money, so I was like, I don't think I want to meet anybody else because I'm already bleeding myself dry. But I decided to meet Amanda Weiss. I saw her table; she didn't have anybody, and I was like, all right, I'll do one more. And she was incredible, just the nicest lady in the world. We talked about Dexter because she was on it for like one episode and a whole bunch of stuff. She was amazing. And then this most recent one that I had this weekend was on Friday. I had the pleasure of meeting Derek Mears,
Oh,
who's
heck
Oh,
yeah,
hell
my
yeah.
favorite
dude.
Jason. And
Yeah.
this fucking guy is the coolest dude on earth. I mean, it was a pretty slow Friday. Like half the people had canceled at this con that we had in Savannah because of all the TSA bullshit that we've been having. But so it was a very slow Friday, and so it was just I had the time to talk with him for like 15 minutes, and we were just nerding out about different shows and different TV shows, and he was giving me like some inside dirt and stuff like that. And so he is like the next person that I would throw on that list of just if you're a fan, if you get a chance to meet him, he was incredible. So loved meeting him. I really haven't had a bad experience, luckily. I haven't had one of those don't meet your heroes moments. The worst ones that I have had are just people that I'm either catching them at the end of the day or at the end of the con where they're depleted, their social battery is gone, or they're just not very social people that probably shouldn't be at cons, but they're doing it for the check. So I Gina Davis was pretty quiet, pretty tired when I met her. Was not unfriendly, but was not overly talkative. Even more so, Katie Seagal, met her from Sons of Anarchy, and I was even more so for me, from my generation. I love her from Smart House. So
Married with Children, come
Mm.
on, or you're
yeah,
ignoring the one, dude.
yeah,
Smart House.
yeah,
I saw you posted Jet Jackson,
yeah,
earlier on
yeah.
the fucking RIP,
I'm
but,
telling you,
yeah, but no, I love Married with Children, but
yeah.
I think with those big cons, they've just gotten to a point where they're just like cattle call. It's just it's so transaction. It's not necessarily their fault. They've just
Mhm.
got so many people to get through, and they have really no time to really personalize anything. And it is. It's very transactional.
And it's a reality too that most of their interactions are pretty much the same. It's not really like a bad thing, but like a lot of times when you have people, there's like that one movie or that one role that they're known for, and so all day long, I love you for this, I love you for this. And so that's one tip I give people is that if you're gonna meet somebody at a table, try to think of something that's a little more obscure that you like.
Smart House, you know.
Yeah, that one didn't land, unfortunately, but, my buddy was behind me, he'd let me go up, and he was just listening, and I walked away, he's like, "I can't fucking believe you brought up Smart House," and I was like, "You better believe it." But I met Carl Weathers, rest in
Oh,
peace,
Oh,
actually,
hell yeah. Dude,
the
I regret it so bad because you mentioned Mad Monster, North Carolina or AZ?
North Carolina.
Okay, so I'm in Arizona, and he came to the Mad Monster in Arizona, like, the year before he died, and
Yeah.
I was like, "Ah," so mad.
Yeah, I met him at MegaCon, and it was the year before he passed away. I actually found out he died almost a year to the day when I was at MegaCon again in line getting ready to meet Keith David, and I saw it
oh,
on Twitter, and I was like, "Fuck." But yeah,
Damn.
I met him, and his line was pretty huge, and so I had like 45 minutes to think this up, and I'm like, "Okay, everybody in this line is gonna ask about Rocky or Predator." Every one of them. And so I looked at his IMDb, I'm like, "What the fuck else?" Like,
Action
Action
Jackson, baby.
well,
Jackson.
Action Jackson was like the 3rd one. He had a lot of those pictures, but I looked through his IMDb and I was like, "Oh shit, I forgot he was in The Shield for a little bit." And so
Oh,
I
yeah.
walked up and I asked him about The Shield, and dude, I unlocked his personality. Like, yeah, he was cool with everybody, but he was very, very robotic, like transactional, like, 5 seconds, 10 seconds. And then when I talked about The Shield, he gave me like, 8, 10 minutes talking about chick lists and all this other stuff. And, I was like, what do I got to do to get you guys to do like a revival series? And so that's a little hack that it's not 100% success rate, but if you can come up with something a little more obscure, you'll unlock a little more other energy.
And it's not always the guest's fault because, like, half the people, when they get up to bat, they don't know what to say.
Yeah.
and then it's over. Like,
Sure.
oh, I froze.
Yep.
And I remember you mentioned not landing. I remember one time I did a meet and greet. It was Corey Taylor, Slipknot.
Oh, yeah.
And it was actually with Stone Sour, but I really just wanted to meet Corey anyway, I took a poster that I really loved from one of the old Mayhem tours where
Yeah.
it was him and Slipknot and Slayer, and it was like this comic custom poster Revolver magazine did super awesome. And I got Kerry King to sign it once,
Mhm.
and I've always wanted to get Corey's signature on his. And I'm like, I thought I'd get a cool reaction to it. And then when I hand it to him, he's literally like talking to her. He's like, "Oh, this fucking thing." He's like, "What's that?" This fucking thing we did one time. I'm like, all right, asshole, sign it, give it back. Thanks.
Uh-huh.
But it's like, thanks for that. Not much of a conversation starter.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's always disappointing when there's like really big guests and you don't get it.
Mhm.
Not getting a crowd. Mine was George Romero. Speak of the Dead, he's a legend.
Mhm.
Is it's an icon in the genre, and this is a horror convention. I went there to get an 8x10 sign for Riverman here in Arizona, Mad Monster, and
Mhm.
I got to meet him. I'm really glad I did. Nobody was at his fucking line. It
Wow.
was like tumbleweeds, and
That's surprising.
he was on the corner with Doyle Von Frankenstein from the Misfits, which is also cool. But he's so intimidated. He looks like he doesn't want to be anywhere. So I'm
Mhm.
like, I would love to talk to you,
Yeah.
but I don't want to talk to you because like, what am I gonna fucking say? And
Yeah.
he's there, fucking shirt off, makeup, the whole thing. I'm like, I doing this. I'm like, yeah, okay. Anyway, so I go up to George. He's there with his wife, acting as his handler. Nobody's there, man. And I go up, and it was real sad because he was nice, but he couldn't. He was gonna be dead within 8 months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was just in a bad way, and he wasn't super verbal, and his wife had to help him sign. She had to guide his hand like Joe Biden shit
Oh,
and
wow.
fucking sign. And and he was very nice though, but just he wasn't. It was kind of depressing, and there was nobody there. That was the biggest crime. But then you never can predict it. The next year I went, and Linda Blair, I'm like, okay, Linda Blair's a legend too, but so is Linda Blair, lined all around the con. Everybody's there for Linda Blair. I'm like, I think people get overwhelmed. It's like, well, my funds can only stretch so far.
Yeah.
And I think when you go to those big megacon type ones, those big pop culture ones, yeah, Henry Winkler's a legend, but
Mhm.
they're so saturated with legends into this building. I literally think you can have like, oh, Henry Winkler, like, hi, I'm just Henry. I'm in the urinal next to you because there's
Oh, yeah.
fucking Thor's down the way, so no one's coming to me here.
Well, the 2 years that I was at, MegaCon, the stars of the show the first time were the Cobra Kai kids. They were the ones that were just like, lines everywhere. And then the second year, they had Scream, the couple of the Scream cast, so they were the ones that had the big lines. Mm.
Scream does really well. I
Scream.
mean, Scream has transcended generations. Because yeah, I noticed that too. It's like whenever they have a Scream semi reunion, Nev Campbell or Matthew Lillard, they just dominate.
Well,
Yeah.
it kind of started with The Walking Dead and like you're saying Cobra Kai and then Scream. It's like you
Mhm.
have these IPs that the kids are like really into now. So yeah.
And then the Cobra Kai kids, they need to make that money while they can because
Mhm.
it's probably like a Walking Dead thing where
They're getting older,
unless you're
yeah.
unless you're Norman Reedus, who's probably always going to have a career. Most every time somebody would die, first of all, you knew who was going to die in The Walking Dead when you saw like the con circuit announced guests
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
the summer. It's like, oh, the guy who plays Seamus is making the rounds. Well, he's dead this
Mhm.
season. You
Yeah.
just knew it. Like they're freed up, and they struck it while it was hot. They were everybody that died in The Walking Dead was massive at all these cons.
Mhm.
And yeah, it's like you forget about them the next year or whatever. So yeah, make it where you can, Cobra Kai, I guess.
Mhm.
But our worst experience, well, we had a lot of great experiences, but back in the day, like I said, it was a little bit more, it wasn't policed, it wasn't orderly. We had Fred the Hammer. I don't know if you're big into like black exploitation films or anything like that. He
Mhm.
played he was in Dust Till Dawn.
Yeah. He wasn't
The black guy in Dust Till Dawn that was helping out Harvey
Oh,
Keitel.
yeah, Fred
Yep.
Williams?
Fred
Fred
Williams,
Williams.
Williamson?
All right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Fred
Yeah.
the Hammer Williamson. He was a bit humbling. He was very
He played his character.
Mm.
He was in character the whole time, which was just funny because
Yeah.
he was just giving Aaron shit the whole time, and it was hysterical.
look, you could tell he had never done a con before, and
Yeah.
like his agent called him up, hey, you got to get on this con stuff. It's great income, man. Everybody's doing it. and I never saw him at a con after. So I'm like, I think this is his first and only con. He was not enjoying himself. There
Yeah.
was nobody coming up to him. We tried to come up to him and, talk to him and get whatever sign. And then we were working the con circuits back then, getting footage and interviews and all that stuff. And we asked him after we did our business with him, like, hey, Sunday, would you want to like have any time, 5 minutes, whatever? And he would just, I remember him going, one never knows where I might be.
Yeah.
I'm like, is that yes? So is that a no? He's like,
That answer is
one,
very confusing. I don't know if you're
you have
gonna
a
show up or
cigar,
not.
you'd have a cigar and
Yeah.
stuff. One never knows. And you could tell he's being super passive aggressive too, like get the
Yeah.
fuck away. And I remember we went outside, we're hanging out, he's smoking. He's outside, like everybody was mingling back then.
Yeah.
And he's just outside of the fucking hotel and he's smoking a cigar and we're out there too.
Mm.
And my mom, because she actually came and helped run the booth, and my dad had just died, so she came and helped us, and it was good. But she knew him because he used to play for the KC Chiefs,
Mhm.
and this is in Missouri, and she's a football guy. She doesn't know anything about movies, but she started talking to him, and you could just tell, like, I don't want to be talked to. He's just fucking taking it, and she's being really nice.
Yeah.
Like nobody's being like bad. You're outside smoking. There's a bunch of people outside smoking, kind of just like and he's kind of just got that air about him, that body language. And then I actually said, because I didn't know it at the time, my mom was talking about football. I'm like, oh, you played football? I didn't know. I know the movies. And he looks so insulted. He's like, looks at me. He's not fucking. And then he goes with a cigar, and I'm like, where did you play? And he goes, cigar mouth, Kansas City.
Mhm.
And I'm like, oh. And then he literally looks at my mom before he fucking makes his exit. Like, this is my escape. Like, you need to tell your boy to stop watching so many fucking cartoons. I'm like,
It was hysterical, dude.
I'm like, I just got dissed hardcore by Fred the fucking Hammer. Like, what the
It's
fuck?
great.
Like, bro, you came to a nerd convention and you're telling getting people mad. I'm sorry they don't know you for their football. This is not you know what I mean? Like this was not his scene, and you could tell. And he left early. So when we actually tried to circle back to try to talk to whoever was with him, whatever, on Sunday, he was gone. He didn't even finish the whole weekend. He left like midway Saturday. Like, fuck this, I'm out. So that one was bad.
We're gonna wrap it up here pretty soon. So
we're gonna wrap it up.
We don't want to keep you, but
I don't want to keep you.
You're good.
But we have to tell the king of all of them.
Yes.
Tom Savini. Surely you know Tom Savini.
I've only ever heard bad stories, but yeah.
Okay, so we're one of them, a couple of them. So Tom Savini, Todd worshiped Tom Savini.
Yeah.
I met this guy, like I said, he got me into Dawn of the Dead. He had every VHS, DVD copy of Dawn of the Dead. He was just loyal to the soil with that. And
I want to go to a school.
He wanted to go to his school, his makeup school. And I felt more bad for my friend because it was like his guy.
Yeah.
And so we went up to him. We approached his table. Nobody was there. He's got his handler there, some chick with big tits, because that's how he rolls. And we walk up to him, and first of all, he doesn't know what we want. Like, I want to get an 8x10 or whatever. And we go up to him. We're trying to talk to him, and he's like saying something to his handler or whatever. And then he does this number. He's like, "Don't you see I'm talking to this lovely lady here?" Like, I mean, yeah. I mean, but don't you see you're at a convention and your fucking table? I don't see out to lunch. It was so like, he was such an asshole. And this whole weekend, all he wanted to do was get laid. He's fucking just hitting on chicks nonstop. You'd wake up and you'd go to the fucking continental breakfast area of the Ramada, and you'd be eating your Cheerios next to Tom Savini, and he'd literally be with a new con slut. He literally has con groupies. And that's probably the whole reason why he would do that circuit back then. But then anyway, we left that table like, well, fuck that guy. Holy shit. And then his wife and my mother at the time was there, and they're like, we'll go get it for you. Like, fuck this guy. We'll go get whatever we want signed or whatever, because you wanted your Night 90 signed.
Yeah.
Okay. So they go and he pulled the same shit on them. And he straight up was just insulting to like his mom, my mom, and his wife. And I'm like, oh, this guy doesn't know how to talk to people, man. It's like, we're not accosting you at lunch. You're at your damn table. It made no sense. And then I remember that same night, like I said, everybody stayed under one roof. We had a buddy that had made a film, a really like homegrown shitty short film, and he was a great schmoozer. This guy could schmooze like nobody could schmooze. And we went back to the hallways to our room, and we see fucking one of the doors open in this motel, and it's Tom Savini's room. And we
Mhm.
walk in, and it's just packed with all these fucking cockroaches, and they're watching Theater Bazaar, a movie he directed, a really bad movie he directed. And they're all watching, and we walk in. It's just like a dorm party, like, just everybody's we walk in there. Tom Savini's in bed at the Ramada with just two chicks.
Mhm.
And then you have these like hanger-oners, like nerds just watching this movie with him. And it's Theater Bazaar. It's a terrible movie. Just take my word for it.
Yeah.
And we're just sitting there in in a motel. We're sitting in a motel room next to Tom Savini in a damn near threesome, half naked. It's just kind of a surreal thing. And the lights are off. And as soon as this movie ends, everybody stands up and claps. And our friend's just like, oh my God, amazing, Tom. Amazing, so good. And I'm just sitting there thinking, no, fuck this guy. This guy's a fucking dick. This movie sucks. Like, this is a fucking piece of shit.
Mhm.
Like, why are you guys? I hate people that act like that around people. I'm like, this
Yeah.
movie's not good. Stop kissing ass. It's terrible. And this guy's a jerk. But I don't know, man. I'll never forget it. And yeah, he's got a bad reputation. And
Yeah.
I think Todd said he probably got it. I think we got a friend, Alpha Romero, who's dedicated to this whole world of Romero stuff. It seems like he might have gotten a talking to. Some people say he's chilled out a bit, but somebody had to
I
been
still
like,
love his movies. I separate it. Like, it doesn't bother me at all. So
I don't take it
Yeah.
personally, but somebody had to have had a talk with that guy. Like, hey,
I mean,
you want to drum up business or not?
it depends. I mean, you can separate it, but like if somebody's being that much of an asshole, like that would be hard for me to just like walk away. Like I would be the guy on TMZ being like, man, fuck you. You like there's a certain amount of like people acting like you're lower than them that just it's intolerable. But what I always heard about him was he would like not communicate directly with you. He would like tell his handler what his
Yeah.
response
Yeah.
was, and his handler would have to like
Dude.
translate English to English to tell you
Yeah.
whatever he was going
Yeah,
to say.
that's
And
exactly right.
and that
Well, we never
that
got
would
that
be
far.
that would be weird. So yeah, I don't imagine I'll ever go to his table because I don't want to have that story. But I've never had one that's bad. Like so, yeah, I guess knock on wood. I just
99% of them are good.
yeah.
Our stories.
Well, we never got that far to where he could translate. He spoke directly through us. He broke the fourth wall. And what kills me, because he was trying to get us pinky stinky. Like we enter like, oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And but what he doesn't know is like, dude, you just burned the biggest Tom Savini fan who has literally bought everything you've ever done a million times over.
Yep.
And then you insulted his wife after. Like, I don't know, man. Todd's I mean, I still love Dawn of the Dead too, but like, and if I ever got to talk to Tom Savini or interview Tom Savini, I would be cool. I would give him the benefit of the doubt again, because I've had two experiences that are not so pleasant. I'm like, all right, maybe he's turned to Christ. I've always got to give him that benefit of the doubt.
Never know. One never
But if it
knows.
doesn't, it would be a fun interview regardless, man. But anyway, yeah, we'll kind of wind down here, man. Is there anything that you got coming up that you want to talk about? What's on the palette?
Oh man, November's a little slower. I just got done. Like October's obviously a big month. We did 31 on 31, which is a big video series that I do every year, and do it with some friends of mine. It's we pick a theme, we pick 31 movies, we rank them all. So check that one out. That's been out for a little while. We got I think the next big horror thing is Five Nights at Freddy's. I don't know if that's gonna be all right, but
You got to cash in on it. That second movie's coming out too. It's huge with the certain demo for sure.
yeah. So that's what the next big horror review will be, and I don't know if it'll be in the next coming days or a week after that. But I've got a tier list of millennial horror films I'm going to do. So like 1990 to 2010. That'll be a big one to look out for.
Like Urban Legend.
That's our
Like
our
a lot
demo.
of those
That's our
Dimension movies.
13
Yeah.
Ghosts, things like that. Yeah.
13 Ghosts and House on Haunted Hill remake and all those. Yeah.
Disturbing Behavior. I just watched that a few nights ago. It's a great movie.
Yeah, I love that one.
So you don't have to like get too deep with them, but I just want some lightning questions because I'm curious. So if you had to pick a favorite movie, what is it? Without thinking too hard about it.
Die Hard.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Die Hard 1's a fucking classic.
Mhm.
Love it. Die Hard 1 and 3 are the only good Die Hard movies.
I
don't even
love
like 2.
I love 2.
I like 2. I really like 4 as well. 5 is the only one that I just it did.
Yeah.
It didn't happen.
Yeah, I couldn't do 4 either, but 1 and 3 are amazing. Favorite Metallica album?
Master Puppets.
There's no wrong answer. Lemmy is God. Trick question. I always go Ride the Lightning,
Me
but
too.
Master Puppets is
Yeah.
right too. This doesn't matter. Favorite band?
Oh boy. Most times it's Metallica, but runner up would be Judas Priest.
Same, exactly.
Mhm,
Uh, Sabbath and Priest might duke it out from
mhm,
time to time. If somebody told me I could make a, reasonable living just being in a Black Sabbath cover band, I'd do
mhm.
it. I'd be like, "Give me that paycheck. I'll rock Tony Iommi riffs all night long." Okay, good answer. And, I'm assuming you go to live shows.
Yeah.
You're a live guy. Okay, favorite concert experience?
Oh, wow. This is not a metal concert, but I had an amazing experience seeing Matchbox 20. That's a very millennial answer, but, yeah, they were a band I always loved, and my wife loved them, and so we got to see them, right after COVID. They pushed off their tour, like, 2 years after COVID happened, and we saw them, and you wanna talk about a show where they played everything you could possibly want them to play, like, literally a 2-hour set, and so that was incredible. Beyond that, earlier this year, I went to, Sonic Temple. I'm actually friends with Rob Zombie's bass player, Blasco, and so he invited us out, and we got to watch Rob Zombie's set from, like, the side of the stage where his stuff is.
Oh, nice.
Mhm,
That's so fu yeah, I've seen Rob Zombie a ton.
mhm,
And, actually, that's a nice seg I'll say. Yeah, Blasco's cool, and yeah, he went back to Zombie because Ozzy was obviously done or whatever.
mhm.
And, I remember, and this actually, I saw a video of yours where you were wearing sleeveless, and did you have a Godsmack tribal sun tattoo on your arm? Okay, so you're a Godsmack fan.
Yep.
So I remember Rob Zombie and Godsmack. Rob Zombie has always put on a really fun show.
Yeah.
Dig Rob Zombie. Love the couple of White Zombie records. Absolutely. Godsmack, I can't say I've ever been a fan of, but for some reason, I've seen him like a fucking 100 times. That's
Mhm.
because Godsmack and even Rob Zombie, they just owned like the rock radio festival circuit.
Yeah.
So they were always on the bill. And it's like, I guess I'm seeing Godsmack. And I remember this one time we went to some radio rock show. I think it was in Iowa
Mhm.
Mhm.
because we're Midwesterners. I live in Arizona now, but we grew up in the Midwest. And it was the billing was Godsmack and Rob Zombie, which happened a lot. It's like those bills were very similar. And Godsmack was closing.
Yeah.
It was Alice Cooper, because Alice Cooper and Rob Zombie were on tour
Yeah.
one of many times together, and so this was an off day. So you had Alice, Zombie, and then Godsmack, and we saw Zombie, a lot of fun. I've seen him numerous times. And then when Godsmack came on, I'll never forget it. Literally half the crowd left.
Oh,
They
wow.
must, it was just one of those nights where Rob Zombie just sort of sucked the energy out of the place. And I remember they come out playing one of their songs, one of their songs that sounds like all the other songs. And I remember after the song ended, he goes, "Where did everybody go?" I was like, "Oh, this is so embarrassing." And I'll just never forget that. And Todd remembers that. It
It's
was
hard.
so
It's hard
funny.
going on after Rob Zombie. I mean, it's his stage shows are
I'm
incredible.
sure you pick a night, it would have been different. It just was that night. I don't
Yeah.
know what it
Yeah.
was, but it was like, holy shit, a mass exodus. I'd never seen that before. But well, good answers, man. Well, we're not going to keep you any longer. We appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, of course, no problem.
And if you ever want to come on and do a Child's Play 3 commentary, that's our bread and butter. You're more than welcome, man.
Be 90 minutes of me going, "This is fucking great. Look at it."
Hey, I'll be the contrarian. I'm like, this is fucking weird. Why is he cutting this doll's hair and talking to it?
It doesn't matter. It's awesome. Like,
All right, man. Gonna be a bro. All right, man.
yeah,
Well, thanks, man. We'll catch up hopefully later. Bye.
sounds good.
See you, bud.
Courtesy flush.